Hello and welcome to another edition of Escape Alive. This time I'm with the wonderful, creators, founders of Salty Beach Traveler, Dennis and Carrie. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm doing just fine, thank you. So the reason why I contacted you, because I ended up finding you through Twitter, actually, and not YouTube, was you seem to concentrate a lot on cruise ship trips. And that's something that's completely out of my wheelhouse. I think I finally I broke down and did a couple of all inclusives a couple of years back, but I'm generally just on the complete other side of things, Airbnbs, going out, plunging myself into adventure, having no idea where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. So I was really fascinated. What do you find is the reason why you're so interested in taking cruise ships? How could you convince me to go on a cruise?
You want to take this? You want me to?
I can go. I think what inspired us on the cruise ship for us is, we both have day jobs, rather hectic. I'm a little very, very much type A. So I plan everything. And that was what drew us kind of to cruising, was that I could plan everything, and what I didn't plan was already included. So it was kind of like that capsule vacation. But with that said, you still have that freedom to do a lot of things and still explore and all that. So once you're on the ship, someone like me, I can actually relax because it's done.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And basically it's like when you're not so basically you don't have to do as much of the organizing because so much is being done for you.
Right. Your biggest concern is, did I pick the right dining time or a specialty restaurant or the excursion, which I'll still completely overanalyze and over research, but you're still gonna have a good time. No matter what you do, it's already kind of done for you.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere. It's a long swim back to shore.
That's so true. And so what parts of the world have you seen from the deck of a cruise ship?
So far, it's been Eastern and Western Caribbean. We've been to Cozumel now twice, which we absolutely love that place.
3 times, isn't it? A couple times.
Cancun. I mean, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Caribbean, we've hit San Juan, Puerto Rico, St. Martin, St. Thomas. MSC has their own private island. We've been there once.
Nassau a bunch of times.
Yeah, Nassau, what, 3 or 4 times now we've been to Nassau.
And so you'd say that that sort of Cozumel was your favorite then?
So far, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
We've been snorkeling there. That was absolute world-class snorkeling.
Yeah, my last trip I was in Puerto Morelos, and that's basically you're a 2-minute drive, 2-minute sort of boating out from their little dock, and you're right on the reef.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah, no, it really is a beautiful location.
Yeah.
And how did you like how'd you find Cancun?
I think that was mainly during COVID, and there was no cruise ships. So, I mean, we'd been to Mexico on cruise ships, so we kind of picked it. It was still that all-inclusive. For us, it was a little safer with COVID going on, that we felt comfortable with it being completely, almost again, a little bubble.
Mm-hmm. And you enjoyed the resort you were on?
Yeah, it was a fun resort. The only thing I would say I didn't like was the airport.
It's a big airport.
Lord, was that place crowded.
Yeah, I heard it was, I don't know, the first or the second busiest airport last year. And it doesn't surprise me. But it was also, I think Mexico was one of the few countries with the Dominican Republic that stayed open without any restrictions through everything. So that's probably one of the reasons.
They had to adapt also, just like everybody else did. I mean, masks were huge. You did not leave that resort with your mask off, or you would get arrested.
Wow.
On the resort, they weren't so strict about it. If you walked up to the bar, they wanted you to have your mask on. Sitting out by the pool, whatever, you didn't have to have it on. So it was a nice place.
Yeah. A lot of them are. And it's a beautiful, beautiful area.
It's gorgeous.
You know, the beaches are so nice, and
The
you really can't. And the food is fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, the one. Well, I've gone twice. I did all inclusives, and as a Canadian, I can do it. It's something that I think is still a problem for you Americans. Is I went to Cuba a couple of times.
Yeah, that would. My sister's been there. I'd love it.
It's nicer. It's different. The one thing I'd say with Cuba, the beaches are absolutely gorgeous. The food, though, is not. It's a good place to go to diet.
Oh, okay.
Is what I would say. You're not going to starve, but there's all kinds of like crazy shortages of things that you wouldn't expect.
That makes sense.
Quality of the meat isn't very good, like what you're getting.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's I would say it's almost the opposite of Mexico, in the sense that Mexican cooking is just so creative.
Mm-hmm.
And they just come up with different ways that you'd never expect to do things, and the flavors, and whereas there's no spices in Cuba.
Yeah. Okay.
You're lucky, most people bring stuff along with them.
Oh, wow.
Literally like hot sauces and stuff like that. There's just no spicing whatsoever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
I'd love
but the beaches are nice, and it's a different atmosphere. It's a lot more similar to the Dominican.
Okay.
Which I've been to as well. It's very they're very similar. They're large islands, right? They're quite close to one another too.
Yeah.
So getting back to the cruise ships again, what would you say are the top 5 things that you like the most about being on a cruise ship?
For me, it's you're out in the middle of the water. There are no cell phone towers. Your phone's not going to ring. You're not going to get blown up by work. You can buy the Wi-Fi package on the ship and still be able to text back to the mainland and stuff. You can't send pictures. Those won't go through. That's huge for me. When I get out on vacation, I don't want to be bothered.
Yep.
Leave me alone.
But with the Wi-Fi package, you actually still can, because I still check my work email every day because I don't know how to shut off. So you can do it.
Okay, so that's one. What's number 2?
I think for me is you can really customize. We've done everything from an inside, one of the lower classes, all the way up to butler service. And you can really create your own experience, obviously depending on the line. But we've sailed Carnival, we sailed MSC, we've sailed a couple of the different experiences, and you can be on the same ship with someone that is going budget and still have a great time, versus someone like the one we did in November, where we had literally our own private dining with butler service and
wow,
everything you could possibly imagine. But you're still on a ship with, when it was at capacity, 4,000 people, and no matter what, you're going to have a good time. So you can really customize it to what you're looking for. So that's one of the things I like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Number 3 is probably the price.
And what are you generally? What's the price range that you were paying?
I think our lowest was 300 for cruise fare. That was a crazy Carnival sale. Our highest was over 5,000.
And that was the one with the butler service and the full. Yeah.
What they probably average out, what, 1,200 a person, maybe?
Yeah, there one in the summer. We've got one booked this summer in July for, I think we got 3 or 4 cabins booked. Each cabin has about 3 to 4 people in it. Well, not us. We're by ourselves because we're paying for it. Each cabin's about 1,300 for and that includes drinks and Wi-Fi actually. So
and food, of course.
But if you take and break that down, go to Miami, get a hotel, go out to eat every night. I don't know if you ever ate out in Miami or not.
No.
Oh, it's expensive.
Wow. Yeah, you're dropping $120 a night on 2 people. And that's maybe 1 drink.
And that's casual dining. That's not fine dining at all.
So you've got your room and board, you've got everything taken care of. You buy the drink package, drink all day, sit out in the sun. You really can't beat it for the price.
No, it sounds like a great deal. And so tell me, I heard that there are a number of people, obviously based on these inexpensive prices, that have basically turned into cruise nomads.
Oh,
And they're cruising a lot. You know what I mean? Like that like they don't have a house. They visit family
right.
obviously once in a while, but the rest of the time they spend it all on cruise ships.
Yeah.
Did you run into any of those people on any of your cruises? Or anyone who'd admit it?
Not someone that's necessarily full-time cruising, but we definitely have met a lot of people that spend a lot of time on cruise ships. You'll see a lot of Florida residents because the cruise lines anyway give you discounts anyway just because you're in Florida, and they've
Right.
got so many ports there that there's no travel expense. So you'll see a lot of Florida people that are there almost every weekend. So we ran into a bunch of people like that.
Interesting. And I guess for the cruise liners, they really want to keep it at capacity, so it makes perfect sense
Yeah,
to do sales and stuff like that. Huh.
that's we got that one $300. I think we booked it probably a month before sailing. I had to go down to Orlando anyway for work, and we just said, well, why don't you fly down Friday? We'll spend the weekend in Florida. We just love going to Florida anyway, so we figured that. And I found the special, and it was less expensive than booking a hotel and buying the food, and we ended up having a day in Nassau. So,
Which is perfect.
not bad at all.
Okay, so we got two more left.
I'll take this one. I think it's finding new places. That's some of the places that we've been down to the Virgin Islands, we've been to St. Martin. That's how we discovered we love Mexico. It's that our next goal is really we're trying really hard to get down to Turks and Caicos, the ABC Islands, and that's a goal for us. Is I like seeing it on a cruise ship first because I'm only committed for a day.
Mhm.
No, I like it. I'm comfortable there. I feel safe there. Then we can book a different trip down there. But I think that's a big one for me.
Well, and that makes perfect sense too. It's especially if you're a sort of someone who doesn't like to take risks. So
You
Yeah,
can feel it out.
because you figure
well,
on
no, great for yeah, as part and parcel of your trip, right? It's like
Yeah,
you have no commitment. You're not there for 2 weeks,
right.
regretting the whole time.
I picked the wrong hotel. What am I going to do?
yeah,
Yeah.
7 day cruise, you're at 3 or 4 different ports on that cruise, so you're seeing 3 or 4 different countries.
which is great.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And so have you done any cruises or do you have any intentions to do like the cruise up to Alaska or something that's a little bit more adventurous like that?
Carrie would. Dennis doesn't like to. He likes the heat. I would love to do it. I want to do the Alaska one where, and I can't remember what the itinerary is exactly, but you sail up, then you train down. I think it's out of Seattle or
Or Vancouver, probably.
something like that. That one, that's a bucket list for me. I think that would just be absolutely amazing.
no, bucket list for me is the Mediterranean.
Well, that too.
I want to see that so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one thing you might want to consider, seeing that you like spending time on the water and it doesn't bother you at all, is there's there's flotillas of boats that go in both directions once a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could get your captain's license or some sort of specialty, and when you retire,
Yeah, yeah.
listen, I know someone who did it and got his captain's license and basically, captains little sailing boats that do the Mediterranean and stuff like that.
Amazing.
It's a dream job.
Oh yeah, I think
It would
we're
be.
probably going to be. I mean, we're close to Lake Erie, but that's more day boating.
Yeah.
I think probably retirement something will be someplace closer where it's a little easier to get on the water and get someplace.
Yeah, the Mediterranean is absolutely beautiful too.
Oh, can't wait.
Well worth it. And what's nice there is there's a lot of smaller boats, so you
Mhm.
can do a week, going through the Greek islands, or 2 weeks on a small little sailboat.
Yep. My company just did one last week where they did one of the river cruises. I did not get to go, so I'm a little salty about that one. But the pictures are just amazing, and it was a riverboat, 2 floors, and it looked amazing.
Yeah. Well, see, my bucket list on a boat is I'd love to do one of those river cruises up the Nile.
Oh yeah, I do that.
That one I'd do. That one
We'll
I
do that
wouldn't
one in a second.
any convincing.
No, that's a very easy one to take.
Yeah, but with me, I'm really fascinated with archaeology. So any chance I have to go to old ruins, I'll jump on it, and it's one of the reasons why I like Mexico so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that there's so much availability of that. But to
yeah.
go to Egypt would be definitely another one.
That'd be a bucket list. I
Yeah,
would do
Oh
that.
no,
there's one in the Mediterranean. They dock the ships at I want it's Chichivetta. I think I
Okay.
pronounced it right. And then you take an hour tour bus and go right into Rome. So
oh.
you're seeing the Colosseum. You're seeing you can walk over, check out the Vatican.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
See, I did that years ago with two friends. We it was very much of an adventure vacation sort of thing. We rented a car in Nice, and we drove all the way down Italy. So we stopped in Rome, and then on to Sicily, and then all the way to Syracuse, which is Syracuse, which was one of the bigger cities on the island. It was a Greek city, and that's where you can take the ferry to get to Malta.
Okay.
And so we ferried over to Malta. It's like overnight. It was 24 hours or something like that. And that's one, if you go to the Mediterranean, that's one port that you'd love to go into. It's absolutely, we arrived at night and spectacular. Because it's a beautiful, well, it was always, I think it's been occupied for thousands of years because it's like one of the strategic natural ports.
Right.
And the city was built around it. Anyway.
That'd be amazing. No,
Yeah, what a great view. So tell me, what got you into? Did we have one more, or did we do all five yet?
No, I think we have one more.
Okay, well, let's do that first.
One more. I'm gonna go with food and drink.
I was gonna say food and drink.
So MSC, I love their food. Their buffet has just the spread like you've never seen. You could gain 30 pounds just eating all week.
But it's very Mediterranean though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got the meats, they've got the cheeses, they slice the tomato in half and grill it. I have no idea what that means, but you'll see people with 4 of them on their plate. Formal dinners every night. So you're getting appetizer, you're getting salad, you're getting a main course, the desserts. I don't have a sweet tooth any other time of year until I'm on a cruise. The desserts are just crazy. And then when we were just on this carnival, we discovered this bar called Alchemy Bar. And we knew nothing about it. We heard of it. So we went up there, checked it out. And you have 3 bartenders, different parts of the world. And they've got these nice pharmacy jackets on and a tie. They hand you the menu, 10 or 12 things on the menu, but they could also customize it for you. And these drinks were amazing. Just absolutely amazing. We were talking to people from Cincinnati, Kentucky area that were true bourbon drinkers. And these guys just follow these bartenders around on these ships.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the experience of it too.
It's a different class. Yeah. That was what's neat about that is they're well bourbon on that in that bar is Woodford. So you're already starting with, nicer things, but it wasn't the traditional, and I hate to say it, we had kind of stereotyped Carnival as the party ships, We're like, oh, it'll be 3 days. We'll see. We just want to experience it. And that's not that bar. When you get that group in, it's almost, no one says anything. No, it doesn't kick them out. But the vibe of that bar will push out that. That's not what it's intended for. It's an average of 40 plus age. There's younger people, but that's the age group you're at. And it's people sitting around socially enjoying a well-crafted drink, not let's go get drunk and party all night. So I like that.
And just the presentation of these guys making the drinks I was in awe.
It's a real art.
How can I go home and do this?
You can't.
And have you taken courses? Are you looking up? I'm sure someone's got a channel on YouTube.
I'm sure. Yes.
There's probably many of them.
I'm sure.
So what one thing worried me a little bit when you said that there's formal dinners there every night. Does that mean you have to pack a tuxedo or something, or can you dress normally?
If you want to, you can, but you don't have to.
Yeah. And you
So,
feel
but
like
I'm guessing if you dress very nicely, the chances of you sitting on the captain's table probably increase.
and it's funny because you'll see just about everything. Now, when we were the yacht club is where you have the butler service and this, that, and the other. They're not going to let you come to dinner in shorts and flip flops. They are going to let you come to dinner in decent pants and a polo shirt, though.
Okay.
It's fine. But you might be sitting next to somebody in a full tux and evening gown, and that's fine too. So that's what's nice about it is it's really you can be as formal as you want, but
You've got the option.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was more of a joy. In fact, I probably would if I was going to be in something because it's sort of fun in a sense, right? It's
We
a
like to
special
dress up
occasion.
one night, and we usually the elegant night is the night we like to do it. He'll bring a sport coat. It's not a tux, but he'll bring a sport coat. I'll bring a nice evening gown or whatever, and it's fun. I mean, it is fun to do it once in a while, but
It's like a celebration, right?
Yeah, it's fun. Makes it special. That's usually when they have the really good food too. There'll be a different menu, and depending on what class you're in and stuff, it's different. But you're always gonna get the steak and lobster or something like that, which is fun.
Excellent. So tell me, obviously the cruise ships were all they were basically shut down for a while. What did you guys do to keep yourself from going crazy?
We went to Florida quite a bit. We went down to Miami, and was it Miami both times? We went to Fort Lauderdale by the sea, which is just a little bit north of the actual Fort Lauderdale. We did that. We did Miami. We did a resort in Miami, not an all inclusive, but like a day resort.
We did Daytona with all the kids.
We did Daytona with the kids. And we went down to Cancun for
You went down to Cancun.
Yeah.
Let me just think. I guess the next thing I'd like to ask you about is how and why you decided to start your YouTube channel.
Sure.
So last November, that cruise with Yacht Club on MSC was a Christmas gift for me.
Okay.
Had to wait a whole year to get it, but it was fine. So I can't remember where her and I were at, and there were jet skis out on the water. And she goes, I grew up 2 blocks from Lake Erie, and I've never been on a jet ski. So I went ahead and booked a jet ski excursion on MSC's private island without telling her. It was going to be a surprise that day. Well, it wound up, MSC emailed the tickets out about a month in advance before the cruise, and she saw it. She calls me at work and she, well, what's this? And I said, well, surprise, I booked jet skis. We'll got an hour-long excursion out there on the ocean. It'll be fun. She's all excited. I get home a couple nights later, and there's a GoPro 10 sitting here on the table. So that's pretty much how it all started.
Nice.
Kind of just a hobby. Yeah, we just started more of to do our our own filming and things like that, and I don't know, just kind of got into it pretty quick of just making it for more of our personal use and fun, but have fun with it as a YouTube channel too,
No, definitely. And I think it's the cheapest form of cloud storage as well.
Absolutely.
Especially with how big the video files are. Huh?
Yeah. We lost 4.5 hours of video off our last trip because an SD card got corrupted. So that was very sad. We had some really good footage of our last cruise that nobody gets to see.
And what other kind of equipment have you ended up investing in since you started?
We got that microphone thing to help block out the winds because that was an issue.
That's just on the GoPro.
We did pick up an iPad, so we're able to edit everything right there on the iPad.
Yeah.
Obviously, we bought the extra 2 terabytes of cloud space because you need it.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a ton of equipment yet.
No.
I upgraded my phone, so we did do that. I mean, that's more for storage. So I have 2 terabytes on my phone, so we can load a little faster. But we haven't. That'll be next step. I think is getting a better camera for more of the stills and that
Yeah.
type of things. Yeah, would be probably our next big investment.
Yeah, that's the way I'm thinking as well. I mean, the one thing I'd suggest in the interim, especially if you're doing a lot of filming using your phone camera, which I do a lot, is although I'm sure there's ones with adapters too, is to get a gimbal.
Yeah, I think a gimbal is good. The GoPro 10 has pretty nice stabilization.
They're
So
the
we'll
best.
use it, yeah, for walking around, that's what we're doing right now. But I think you're absolutely right. If we're gonna go to the camera for some more still, that's not the action shots, it's the camera with the gimbal is gonna be
Yeah.
I think you kind of almost, those are like a hand in hand type thing. We
Yeah.
probably have to upgrade. I've been working my laptop off of Surface Pro 2, and I just got the message yesterday that I'm completely out of memory. So we are going to be building a computer too. So
Well, I just keep hearing good things about the new Mac Studio.
yeah,
So I think that's on my list as well. But
yeah,
it starts adding up quick.
it does.
I mean,
Yeah,
especially when you consider how much we're making on this, right?
right. Well, and that's the thing is you've got, because we've got the video editor, which what are we using? I can't remember what we're using the
iMovie.
iMovie's fine, to tell you the truth. It's a very good editor.
It's not bad. And then I do a lot for what graphics we're using on this. I do some customized stuff on my own. So I'm
Yeah.
using Corel for that. Corel has a video editor, but I haven't quite mastered that one yet. So, but yeah.
One thing I would suggest that I use for all my graphics stuff, and I find it works really well. It's very intuitive, and it's all completely online, which is a big plus, especially if you're going to be doing work sort of on the road. Is this program? It's called Pixlr,
I've used that.
Pixlr.
Yep.
And that one I find is just absolutely perfect for most of, like, if you do quick and dirty stuff. And especially I found, like, with me, I had the mixed blessing of one of my videos doing very well, and now I'm trying to figure out what I did. So because it's hard to tell sometimes the reason why one has really good pickup and the next doesn't, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you don't know.
Yeah. And so I ended up signing up for this one, I can't think of the name of it, but for this one sort of software, not software, it's software. It's on the Chrome browser. Excuse me. And it's interesting because they give a lot more suggestions, and they score your videos, especially for your title and things like your the still, the still shot and stuff like that. And the thing is, what's happened now is that now I'm you release a video, you start looking at all the data, the stats when it comes in, and now I'm furiously changing around titles to see what was going to work better, or changing around the graphic quickly. And this one isn't working. I wonder why it isn't working. So you try something else.
Absolutely. I used to do digital marketing. What I do now is different. I used to, prior to what I do currently, which is still in the same field, I used to own an insurance agency.
Oh, okay.
So I did all my own, marketing, and I did a lot of the Facebook advertising, and your tags and your hits and your keywords are so important. And that's with him all the time, is we go with the same thing. Change, because it could be one word that can hit an algorithm is different.
You can add words in your title and it completely changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just the order of it.
Yeah.
And, but even though what was interesting with the video that I had that did particularly well, it was all just coming in as the next choice. So it had nothing to do with the SEO.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm coming to think a little bit is the guest I had on had a very large Facebook audience.
Yep.
And I think that gave it a first bump right when the video launched, that sort of got it seen by a lot more people. And then, it went crazy for a couple of days.
That's awesome.
Which is great. But it's just like trying to do that on a regular basis is a whole other issue. And also I think trying to keep up your enthusiasm when you think, oh, this one's going to be much better, and it just like falls like a lead balloon.
Right.
Yeah.
And we try to hit, and and that's the same thing, is we really make negative money doing this, which is, it's fine because we have fun doing it. But yeah, it's the things of we want to get someplace first or early so you could potentially be in there. And that was one of our heartbreaking losses from the SD card crash, was we had just been to the Margaritaville in Cancun, in Nassau, which we actually have a video out of how fast can we get out of Nassau. So we finally found a spot that we really liked, and we had some great footage. It's just gone. But that's where, we're looking at a cruise, November, December, something we'd like to do one at the end of the year this year. And we're drawing ourselves to choose a trip over what could we get content out of at this stage. And, there's one, it's an inaugural sailing. And right now that's so high on the list just because it's an inaugural sailing that, maybe we could get something that people want to see a little bit more. So, but, yeah, sometimes your wallet dictates to what you're doing, but
no, definitely
not to it.
No, I think I've learned so much since I've started, and I really think that's that's an interesting aspect, and also I think it forces you in a sense to reach out, because there's the whole aspect of then promoting your work. Right, so that people actually do see it. And I think that's almost the biggest issue, is unless you hit things at the right time and the algorithms get nice with you, which happens every once in a while, but other times it's just like, you miss your opportunity, and then no one's ever going to find your video.
Right. Yep.
And it, and getting beyond just sort of friends and the few people who stumble across it seems to be the biggest. It's like, I think getting the first 1,000 subscribers is probably the hardest 1,000.
It's been very true for us.
Yeah.
But that's where he's been doing really well, meeting people like you on Twitter and the networking of people. I think that goes into definitely one of the advantages, is we've made a lot of friends. And that's what makes it a fun hobby, is you just meet really cool people and you get to network and talk to people. I've always been in the networking just for my other job, and it's nice. It's fun. You build friendships.
Yeah, and it's with people that have similar interests to you, which makes, it isn't just because you're near one another or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah. Let me just think. So what did you end up? I noticed on your channel when I was just looking through it that you also have done some stuff sort of more in your area in the Midwest. So why don't we just sort of talk about that a little bit, like highlights, if anyone was going to be doing more road tripping, maybe never been to Ohio, never been to the area. What's of interest there?
I think that I think we might probably will be doing more of that. We're from Cleveland, Ohio, and it's kind of one of those towns. It had a bad eye for a really long time, and it's definitely working very hard to remarket itself. Obviously, I'm biased. I grew up literally 2 blocks from Lake Erie. My father is on Lake Erie. That's his view every single day, and being from this area, I've never been to the Rock Hall in my entire life. And so it's one of those things that I think it's almost like tourist in your own town type things, where there's so many cool things of these cities that everyone has something in their own town, and maybe starting to highlight some of these things. Like when we did the Grandpa's Cheese Barn, that for us is just a very normal thing, that when you're going down to Columbus, you're driving, you go to Grandpa's Cheese Barn, you get cheese. But come to find out, it's a tourist destination. There's people that travel to go there, and we overlook those things. So it's kind of fun just to point out the things that we overlook as just normal. You just go there. Everyone goes there. Why would you not go there? It's great. But it's just highlighting those things, because that's the stuff to us that we know it is so normal because we go to it all the time. Whereas someone coming in the area may not know that. So doing those kinds of things, I think we'll definitely be doing more at Cleveland. There's a lot of things in Cleveland that we could definitely show off.
We've got the islands up by Sandusky there. We could potentially do something around there. It's just, those those types of videos, though, those are the ones that are very hard to take off.
Yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, you might have a little bit more of an edge over me. I'm in downtown Toronto,
I love
and we sort of.
Toronto.
Oh, you are?
I've been there a couple times. I absolutely love Toronto.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think so.
But the thing is, like a lot of the things that you would naturally want to do have been done to death, and there's just so many other people that have done videos
That makes
that
sense.
it's
Yeah.
questionable whether, unless you've got just an absolutely different take on it.
That I could see that. Yeah.
And I think it's like trying to find the right mix between something that is of interest to enough people that it's not just you and two others,
Right.
but also nothing where you're competing against everybody and their brother.
That makes sense.
That
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that helps us a little bit because it's a newer town.
The other thing too, even doing cruise videos, that is very saturated on YouTube. There are a ton of them. But before her and I even went on our first cruise,
we watched them all.
We probably watched every single one of them.
We definitely have our few people that, there's a bunch of them that I follow on Facebook, YouTube, and whatnot. I value their opinions because they've made themselves so present, but they're also so honest, and that's been huge.
Yeah, we got on that ship. We knew our way around it. Like you've been on it 10 times.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Knew all the staff's names.
Thank you very much.
Go here, stay away from this, eat this, don't eat that, don't drink this. Take your sunscreen,
Yeah. So what would you say was your most successful video? Doesn't have to be in numbers, it's just, overall.
I would say our review of Nachi Kokum.
Yeah.
That one's got the most views. That one gets viewed constantly.
It was a fun one to make too.
Yeah, it was. And I think people who are going to Cozumel, they're deciding between Nachi Kokum or Mr. Sancho's. And I mean, we're guilty again. We watched 20 other people's videos on Nachi Kokum.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see that one blow up every single day.
It was fun. That one was a good one to make too, because that was also soon after the opening. So we did get a good view of it without it being very busy. Because you'll see, I mean, if you've been to Cozumel, those day resorts are all busy. We've been to a couple, and I can't remember the other one we went to. We were at another one too a couple years ago, and it was busy. So it was nice being able to see it kind of quiet for a little bit. So it did give that one a unique perspective.
Well, that was the resort after we got done snorkeling.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was
dropped
called.
us off at a resort.
Playa Mia or something like that. It was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice place.
Nice. And what would you say was the video that you've learned the most from?
Ooh.
The first one.
No, not that you had the most to learn, but
any of the earlier ones when we really didn't. It was the editing and learning the physical side of it was probably the hardest loop for us.
Yes, because the editing on the first few videos was just a bear. And before we went on this last Carnival cruise, I told her, I said, we're going to make these videos so there's minimal editing to do.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did. Now, I was able to salvage 3 or 4 of them, like our room 1058, that's on there. I basically walked in with that GoPro, walked around the room, and that was it. I added music. I didn't speed it up or nothing. Boom, it's done. Yeah. So yeah, from now on, we're gonna try to cut out the riffraff, I guess, and really, you don't want to spend too much time editing these things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think the pros call that editing in camera.
Yeah, yeah. We're learning that the hard way, with a lot of memory. An expensive iPad that did not have enough memory. But we've worked around that. Thankfully, we have 2 kids that are in IT for school, so they can help us. And
Yeah, you might want to explore around too, like download a few of the free apps. Because there's some I was looking into, I found one that has sort of cloud storage
Mhm.
and everything, all of the computing powers happening in the cloud.
That's nice.
So
GoPro was
especially
supposed
for
to have that,
Yeah,
but we couldn't.
It doesn't.
yeah,
Hold.
no, this one it looked quite. I became interested in it because one of my goals, eventually, mattering on the circumstances and what I'm doing, would be to literally travel and be able to edit like more complicated stuff with just a Chromebook.
Yes. Yeah, that would be.
You know, and there's actually more and more on the cloud that I think
Mhm.
would allow you to do that. So
Yeah,
that
sure.
you've got a disposable laptop. If something happens to it, someone steals it, you lose it, it falls
It's
down and breaks. It's a couple of $100,
right.
as opposed to like an iMac that's going to cost you 2
Well,
months
and
more.
I mean, the iPad Pro, that was $1,400. I mean, that was expensive.
Yeah.
And, my Surface Pro, I've got to build I got to get my kid to build me a desktop computer, because we've exhausted it trying to do all of my work is on the cloud. So my work isn't heavy. It's all web-based, but just uploading and down, anything that we're trying to do is I was trying to design something yesterday, and I was trying to save it to the cloud. My computer did not have enough memory to output it to the cloud. I was like, okay, this is getting expensive and we need to fix this. Yeah. So,
It's the one of the biggest challenges,
yes.
especially especially when you get up. Well, I guess seeing that you're on iMovie, one of the things that I learned recently, because I quite like it for editing, because it's just very
Easy.
it's very well, it's also very intuitive,
Mhm.
which means you can flow, especially if you're doing a lot of editing, which I
Yeah.
sort of like to do, or sort of sound design, because I'm also a musician, and
Oh, nice.
I like playing around with having narration and then music and then sound effects below the music, and all these kind of things. Is that the resolution is based on the first file you put in.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
And it's set at that, right? And then you can change it by putting another first image in. And I had the problem because I wanted to go up from like 720, which is just too pixely a lot of the time.
Yeah, it is.
And I couldn't figure out how to change it. So I, of course, went on YouTube and I found out. But why I'm saying is that some of your problems might be that you're importing stuff in 4K, which are just enormous files, right?
Yeah. We've been trying to
And if
film
you've
it.
got a 10-minute 4K video, I mean, I made the mistake of doing it once, and I think it took like 12 hours to upload or something like that. It just
Yeah, we did
and
that.
I had another interview, and my quality was just totally screwed up, because I think just it was all of my broadband was just bringing up that 4K
We
video.
did the same thing when we first got the GoPro, not on a trip. We went for a bike ride, and I filmed an hour and a half bike ride in like 4K. Even the GoPro was out of it, like turned off, and it was like, no, we're done. Within probably halfway through the bike ride.
Killed the battery. Yeah.
Killed everything. It's like,
No,
okay,
it's crazy. I don't understand why. I guess it's all just selling it because it's better and better, and it's got to keep getting better. But at that, it's almost unmanageable, the 4K stuff.
and that's
And you don't even notice it unless you're watching it on a wall, like a TV the size of a wall. You're not even gonna notice. And I don't know about you, but most of my viewers are watching it on their phone.
exactly
Right.
So it's like, the 720 is fine for most stuff, basically, because the screen is so small, right?
exactly.
But anyway, so before I let you go, I guess I've always asked this question to people. How did you get your name for your channel? What was the brainstorm?
So originally it was another hobby I do is I just craft things, and I make things, design some logos and fun stuff like that. And my daughter had wanted a shirt that said, "Nobody likes a salty beach," playing off the words, obviously.
Yeah.
And when we decided to go through trying to make a channel and whatnot, we went through hundreds and hundreds of names or something like that. And I was driving back from a work trip or something like that. We were on the car and we were on the phone, just talking back and forth. We were going through names, and I finally said something. I'm like, I just splurted out Salty Beach, and he goes, "That's it. That's the one." And it just kind of stuck. So it's just the play of the word of it, and we just thought it was funny. And it's amazing that a lot of people don't realize it's a play of a definitely different meaning. My one sister had made the comment. She's just like, "Oh, well, maybe you should choose something else because it's not always beach vacations." I'm like, "Think about it." She's like, "Oh, okay."
Well, seeing that you're on the shore of Lake Erie, it could also be that you like freshwater beaches.
We like fresh beaches too.
Because I know I one time I went out because in Ontario we share a number of the Great Lakes with different states, and I've been on Erie. It's a nice, now that it's a lot better than it was.
Yes.
And I think it's the most shallow and the warmest of all the Great Lakes too, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Because it's nice. I mean, I find that's one nice thing being here in Toronto is you really have access. Like in the other side, Georgian Bay is just unbelievable as well.
Toronto is so pretty. I love going to Toronto. I haven't been there in 20 years, but I love it. Love it.
Well, you'll have to come to visit, and we'll go out and have lunch or something.
Yeah, and I don't think you've ever been to Toronto, have you?
I haven't. No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been up a couple times to see the Phantom of the Opera, and I've seen a couple shows up in Toronto.
Yeah, I think they're starting to open up. They're starting to open them up again.
Are they?
Yeah, I'm hoping anyway. Things are slowly opening up.
Beautiful theater district. There's so many cool things in this. I love Toronto.
Yeah.
Big mall.
And a nice clear day, you go up the CN Tower, and the view is really quite something.
He's not
if you get it on a clear day.
Yeah, I've been up there. It's back in high school. I was a majorette in the marching band, and we played in the Astrodome. So I was on the big screen, and it was a cool experience.
Great. Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
And good luck. And I will make sure. Why don't you tell everyone all of your social media stuff so everyone knows, and I'll make sure it's down in the description as well.
Sure. Salty Beach Traveler on YouTube. Facebook, I believe, is Salty Beach Travel. It's either Salty Beach Traveler or Salty Beach Travel on almost all of them. We can send you the tags of them all, but Salty Beach Traveler YouTube, Salty Beach Travel on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok.
And how are you finding TikTok?
Not too well on that one yet. I have another one that we get more views for our dogs than we do for travel.
Well, it's different, every platform is different. Yeah. It's like you have to figure out what it's about.
Yep.
And Instagram and TikTok are definitely the shorter the better, and the more visual the better it seems to be. Yep. Although they're both different as well. One's more photography, and TikTok is more its own thing.
It's definitely its own thing.
But I think it's generational as well, to be quite honest with you.
I watch it all the time, but I haven't been able to figure out. We have a 17-year-old with over 30,000 followers, and he just makes memes and crazy things, and he's probably listening in the background, but he's close to 40,000 followers, and no one even knows who he is. He's an anomaly. And I can't. We can, if we get 800 views, we're happy.
Yeah, well, listen, get him in consulting. He can pay off some of his rent that way, and everyone's happy, right?
There you go. He's too young to even monetize off it, and I'm just like, if we could get half of that.
Exactly. Oh well, he's how much longer before he turns 18?
September.
Well, you'll be able to do it by then, right?
He can. He says he doesn't want to.
Yeah, fair enough.
Monetize it, so we'll see what he wants to do with it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, he's still at charge. You might be able to do it for him at this point while you're still legal guardian. No?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
He's also the kid in IT, so we just use his talents to build us computers too. So
Well, that's absolutely perfect. Anyway, thank you so much,
thank
both
you.
of you. You have a great day,
Yeah, you too.
and good luck. And let's find a reason to do this again.
Sounds
Absolutely.
good. Thanks.
Okay, great.
Have a
Have a
good
good
one.
time. Have a good
Thanks.
day. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.